The film begins with Claire's birthday party. Claire's classmate Casey was invited out of sympathy, as Claire informs her father that Casey routinely gets in trouble with teachers and is sent to detention. When Casey calls for a ride home, she is told that the car is broken down. Claire is going to take the bus, but her father insists on accompanying them home. The girls leave with another friend, Marcia. An unknown individual approaches Claire's father. Moments later, a man named Kevin enters the car. Claire believes he accidentally got into the wrong car by mistake, but Kevin puts on a face mask and sprays the girls with a chemical that knocks them unconscious. Casey gently tries to open the door to go out, but Kevin catches her too. Kevin takes the girls to a windowless room at an unknown place. He pulls Marcia out and leads her outside. Marcia rushes back into the room after she pees herself. She informs the others that Kevin asked her to dance for him. Claire insists that they must band together to survive. Casey remains calm, stating that they must first determine why they are there before making any decisions. We get a flashback to a 5-year-old Casey with her father and Uncle John. They are both hunters, and they show Casey how to hunt. Uncle John describes hunting a deer but being distracted by the buck. Dr. Karen Fletcher, a therapist, is watching a news program about the 3 missing girls and how Claire's father awoke to discover them and his car gone. Karen then receives an email from someone named Barry stating that they need to chat urgently. Barry is actually one of Kevin's multiple identities. This alter is a sketch artist with a strong Boston accent. Under this guise, he meets with Karen on a regular basis. The girls keep trying to find a way out. They peer through a crack in the door and notice what looks to be a woman speaking to their kidnapper. Claire and Marcia call on the woman for assistance. She approaches the door, but it is only Kevin in a skirt and high heels. Patricia, this alter ego, is a courteous British lady. Patricia informs the girls that their kidnapper understands why they are there and that he is not permitted to touch them. Karen is participating in a Skype conference to discuss her patients, the majority of whom suffer from dissociative identity disorder, including Kevin. Karen discusses how some identities have abilities that other identities could not possess, as well as how she can tell who has come to the light, the alter in charge. She explains that persons with DID can alter their bodily chemistry through their thoughts. The girls meet another persona, Hedwig, who has the demeanor of a 9-year-old boy. He claims that Patricia and Dennis, the persona who kidnapped the girls, are upset with him and that he is in jeopardy. Casey attempts to get out of there by telling Hedwig that Patricia and Dennis are still upset at him and that he is in trouble. Hedwig leaves, and the girls begin to hunt for a way out through the walls. Claire discovers a hollow place in the ceiling and begins breaking off the plaster. Hedwig begins to return, but Casey and Marcia block Claire's exit as she attempts to climb out. Kevin reverts to Dennis as Claire begins crawling through the vents. She finds an exit and begins rushing for help. She hides in a locker, but her trembling breath is so loud that Dennis notices her. He orders Claire to remove her shirt since it is soiled. He then locks her in a room alone. In another session with Karen, Kevin reprises his role as Barry. Karen does not believe she is speaking to Barry. She has seen certain qualities in Barry that are typically seen in other alters like Dennis, such as OCD. Barry insists that he's improved. Karen claims that Kevin has 23 different identities. Kevin transforms into Dennis as Karen reveals a 24th identity, the Beast, whom Dennis claims is real. Patricia invites Casey and Marcia out for a meal. Marcia is forced to take off her skirt, and Casey removes her flannel top. Patricia leads the girls into a dining area and begins to prepare another sandwich. He becomes furious when he accidentally cuts the sandwich crookedly, so he begins to make another. Marcia seizes the chance to grab a chair and hit Patricia in the back with it. She flees for help, and Casey tries to follow, but Patricia apprehends her and orders her to her room. Marcia is eventually apprehended as well and held in a room by herself. Karen and her assistant Jai check surveillance footage from outside the building. A trash can is knocked over, spilling waste everywhere. One couple walks past it. while Dennis walks straight through it, which Karen believes is intentional. Hedwig speaks to Casey in a joking way. He asks to kiss her, and she lets him, despite the awkwardness. Hedwig discusses his music selection and how he enjoys dancing to Kanye West. Casey invites him to show her his room and music collection. He leads her in, and she notes a window near his music. It's merely one sketch of a closed window above another of an open window. Hedwig begins to understand Casey is attempting to flee. She becomes terrified and tries to comfort him. He takes out a walkie-talkie, which Casey uses to call for assistance while fighting off Hedwig. Hedwig subdues Casey and grabs the walkie. We see another flashback of little Casey on a hunting excursion. When her father is not present, Uncle John begins to want to play. He gets down to his underpants and encourages Casey to remove her clothes because animals don't wear clothes. Later, John emerges from behind a boulder to find Casey pointing a weapon at him. He manages to get it back from her before she pulls the trigger. Claire and Marcia try to escape by using a wire to unlock the door from outside Marcia's room. They were unsuccessful. Dennis greets Karen when she arrives at Kevin's home. He welcomes her inside, and they continue to talk about the Beast and the Horde, which refers to Kevin's main personalities, Dennis, Barry, Patricia, and Hedwig. Karen becomes actually afraid. She runs outside and discovers Claire stuck in her room, but Dennis pulls Karen away before she can intervene. Casey discovers a laptop that contains footage of all of Kevin's personas. She sees one named Orwell, who speaks philosophy, and another named Jade, who has diabetes. Dennis approaches an abandoned train car and begins to turn into the Beast. He is much taller and more powerful than any other persona. He returns home and discovers Karen writing something on a piece of paper. She grabs some knife as he crawls up the wall to grasp her. Karen attempts to stab him, but the knife breaks. The Beast then squeezes Karen's spine till it snaps, and she dies. Casey exits and attempts to locate the other girls. She discovers Marcia dead, with her stomach ripped open. Casey then discovers Claire alive, but she is pulled as the Beast begins nibbling on her tummy. Casey discovers the paper on which Karen wrote. The caption reads, "Say his name, Kevin Wendell Crumb." The Beast discovers Casey, but she constantly calls his name, causing him to revert to normal. We have a quick flashback to Kevin's mother shouting at him as a child, using his full name and telling him he's created a mess. Kevin has no memory of what he did when Casey informs him he murdered Karen, Claire, and Marcia. He informs Casey that one of the cabinets contains a gun and that she must kill him. The big identities begin to seize control all at once. Casey flees as the Beast begins to return. Casey finds some ammunition and loads it into the cannon. The Beast begins crawling up the ceiling and turning out the lights, leaving Casey with no sight to shoot at him. The Beast approaches Casey, ripping her clothes and biting her leg, but she escapes. She locks herself in a cage and loads the rifle with new ammunition. The Beast begins bending the bars to gain entry, but he soon notices various wounds on Casey's body. Another flashback shows little Casey after her father's funeral, and John informs her that he will be her new guardian. The Beast then declares that Casey is pure-hearted and leaves her alone. Shortly after, a man goes downstairs and finds Casey. He carries her out to safety. She glances around the outside and notices various animals in an enclosure. The medics arrive and take Casey in. Kevin is alone now, fully controlled by the Horde. Patricia claims that the Beast will protect them now. The final scene takes place in a diner where people are watching a news story about what Kevin did. The anchorwoman says how the Beast, alias, resembles the animals in the enclosure where he worked. A customer remarks that the scenario is comparable to a man in a wheelchair from 15 years ago. When she can't remember his name, someone next to her says, "Mr. Glass, it's David Dunn."